From the Loch Ness Monster to government conspiracies, humans love a good myth. It just makes life so much more colorful to think that there's more to a story than meets the eye. But in the case of MCAT myths, this distraction can be quite damaging. Because the MCAT is such a huge deal and because candidates are desperate to hack it, kernels of truth are often mutated into myths, which are then propagated faster than the coronavirus. And that, my friends, is why I'm here today, to address the most popular MCAT fictions and set them straight. Hi, I'm Thea Beckman, a learning coach with Brainscape, the world's smartest study app. If you haven't yet discovered our certified MCAT flashcards, go check them out today because they will help you memorize the essential facts twice as efficiently as any other study technique. Also, make sure you subscribe to this channel for a steady stream of really helpful tips on doing well on the MCAT and getting started on your career in medicine. With that said, here are 5 common MCAT myths you need to expunge from your hippocampus immediately, starting with this whopper. You need a high MCAT score to get into medical school. Traditionally, yes, stratospherically high MCAT scores were considered your golden ticket to the medical school of your dreams. But while your score is still an important part of the admissions process, the American Association of Medical Colleges, or AAMC, has come up with a new grading system that takes the pressure off students to pull off supernatural feats of exam performance. In other words, a mid-range score can get you into medical school just fine, provided the other parts of your application, like your personal statement and interviews, are memorable. So take comfort in that. Okay, on to myth number 2. The MCAT isn't about memorization. It's about critical analysis and reasoning skills. Yes, the CARS section assesses your overall comprehension skills, and you can possibly pass this section simply by relying on the context and information provided by the question passages themselves. But the other sections in the MCAT are impossible for you to answer without a solid foundation of science knowledge. So learning and memorizing that content is really essential for you to land a good score. Now, a really useful tool for doing that twice as efficiently as traditional studying, like slogging through textbooks and taking endless notes, is Brainscape's certified MCAT flashcards, which have broken down the most essential science content you need to know into topic-specific collections of flashcards. And you can use these anytime, anywhere, on any device to draw yourself on that information, using spaced repetition to really target your weaknesses. So say it with me now. If you want to outsmart the MCAT, you need to have those CARS skills polished and know your science content, which Brainscape can definitely help you with. Now, the next myth is that you need knowledge of upper division sciences to do well on the MCAT. Nope, you do not need to be an expert in the sciences. In fact, according to the AAMC, you only need introductory knowledge of the sciences tested in the MCAT, such as physics, biology, and organic chemistry. Yes, some of the question passages may describe upper division science topics, but the context they give you will be sufficient for you to deduce the answers. So relax and make sure you split your time equally between content memorization, which you can do with Brainscape's MCAT flashcards, and critical analysis and reasoning skills practice. Don't get too bogged down in the details or else you'll run out of time. Okay, onward ho. The 4th myth is that you can take the MCAT as many times as you want, which is a steaming pile of... You can only take the MCAT 3 times in any 1-year period, 4 times in 2 consecutive years, and 7 times total in your lifetime. But just because you can retake the MCAT multiple times doesn't mean you should. A lot of students retake the MCAT again and again in an effort to smash out that 520 plus score, which ends up being a waste of time and money, not to mention incredibly stressful. Do your best to land a decent score the first time around, and if you know you can do better, retake it. But don't get caught up in a vicious cycle of perfection seeking. And now for the final myth. Although if you want to discover even more MCAT myths, check out our article on the subject, link provided in the show notes below. Okay, so there's this really stupid myth that it looks bad on your med school application to retake the MCAT. Here's the thing though, med schools aren't run by a bunch of grumpy trolls. They're human beings who understand just how hard the MCAT is. Now, since many students retake the MCAT on their journey to becoming doctors, it's not going to be a blight on your record. Besides, no medical school has a policy of rejecting applicants because they took the MCAT more than once. So there are 5 MCAT myths that belong in the trash. What you should have learned today is you do not need a stratospherically high MCAT score to get into medical school. You should devote equal time to honing those critical analysis and reasoning skills and content memorization. You don't need ninja level science knowledge to do well. You cannot retake the MCAT as many times as you want, nor should you. And it does not look bad to retake the MCAT if you feel you should. Now, if you want to bust even more MCAT myths, check out Brainscape's full guide. You'll find the link to that and a few other guides I think might be of special interest to you in the show notes below. And don't forget to like and subscribe to this channel for a steady stream of excellent advice on smashing MCAT prep, the exam itself, and your med school applications. My final word of wisdom to you is this. Always go to the source for your information. Now, that would be the AAMC, the official test makers. And don't get distracted by other people's guesswork and fear-mongering. Stay focused on what's important, study hard, look after yourself, and you will rise to the challenge of the MCAT.